Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the World Class Championship Wrestling Review Series. We move to the end of 1986, December 20th, 1986. One more week after this one, and we've moved into 1987. Fresher, Yurkov versus Steve Simpson. Of course, Yurkov brought into the promotion by Pretty Boy Larry Sharp. Both of these men, former television champion. Yurkov is later known as Bam Bam Bigelow, as to be mentioned here. Simpson has been a major star for a little while. Outquicks Yurkov early, and Yurkov, a guy who obviously goes on to a rather monumentous career all over the world, including some of the best stuff in Japan a big man has ever done. I think he's the first man north of 300 pounds to do a moonsault, among other things. But a standing dropkick here shows that he has the athletic ability even before a young man knows what he's doing. Breaks down the match into a slower style with a reverse chinlock. Simpson comes up with the hammerlock, and Yurkov, kind of stomping around, takes a little bit more punishment than you'd expect from a guy who's this big at this juncture of his career. Larry Sharp tries to keep things going for his man, but an arm bar relatively early, or actually in the midpoint of the match, gets things going for Simpson. Diving headbutt might have been a little low by Yurkov. Yurkov having some issues with the arm because it's worked on for so long. Does not go the way that he intends. Needless to say, Sharp tries to interfere, get his man to break the hold, and does get the hold broken. That leads to a victory eventually here for Yurkov. Yurkov, who really is a guy who, I mean, when they lost him, I would imagine that's a big deal. Referee calls things off, and the official result is a time limit draw, actually. Much to the chagrin of Crusher Yurkov and Pretty Boy Larry Sharp. Anyway, Von Erich's against Black Bart and the Grappler. Kevin and Mike Von Erich are your team here. Post this, there is an interview hyping the Christmas night process. Post this match. I may as well talk about it here, though. The loser leaves Texas inside a cage. No referee this time. It's escape the cage rules, and Abdullah the Butcher, Bruiser Brody, whoever does not escape the cage first, leaves Texas for good. Needless to say, we see in this particular match, though, Mike Von Erich with some drop kicks and the like on none other than the former WCWA champion Black Bart. Grappler comes in, and Kevin kind of protects Mike. Mike still, I mean, even, a year after the injury, year and a quarter maybe, still has not fully recovered. Drop kick, though, by him, and the Von Erichs do gain a victory in quick order. Double team maneuvers by the Von Erichs gain them the victory. Then we move on to the Warrior and Lance Von Erich versus Adias and Almadrill. This is from, I believe, Reunion Arena, or definitely another arena, not the Sportatorium. You can tell by the lighting. Adias and Madrill are fast friends who are basically covering for each other. The Warrior gets beat down for the first little bit of the of the affair. Fresh slam by the Warrior early, and nobody wants to take that. Madrill comes in after Diaz has been manhandled by the Warrior. Madrill cuts the ring off on the Warrior, and that breaks the match down a little further. Warrior takes the heat for the next couple of minutes, which it always strikes me as odd when Warrior takes the heat. I'm just not used to him being placed in a position to sell on a consistent basis. But it's done here in World Class because he has not gotten that full, star treatment yet. Needless to say, Warrior not as over as Lance Von Erich. Also odd to say, but we're talking Texas, and the Von Erich name has more cachet than the Warrior does at this point. Warrior actually is in a selling position for several minutes as the heels take advantage. Adias manages to cause the Warrior to carry his weight with a reverse chinlock, among other things. Again, they cut the ring off on the Warrior. Finally, a tag to Lance Von Erich. Lance comes in and goes to town on Adias and Madrill. Adias takes the majority of punishment there. Von Erich goes to the top rope and manages to hit a top rope dropkick. Always well done, by the way. 1, 2, and almost 3. All 4 men break in, and the referee has some difficulty in controlling getting the Warrior out of the ring. Beal on Adias by Von Erich. The roll of quarters, which was introduced a couple weeks ago, still introduced here by Madrill, and the Adias Madrill team gets the victory here. We then move to the, I guess you'd say, semi-main event of the particular program. Killer Tim Brooks and Tony Atlas. Again, not a really long match here. Atlas hasn't really found his stride. Thought he was going to team with the Warrior for a while. They didn't completely stick with that. Maybe they go back to it in 1987. I'm not really sure. Anyway, we are only 1 week away after this week from 87 anyway, so we'll soon find out what 87 has in store. Leapfrog and hip tosses by Atlas and Brooks. Not going to be a Speed Demon style match. In a move that makes no sense, Tony Atlas has his strength tested by Killer Tim Brooks and finds himself in a negative situation for about 15 to 20 seconds on that, which, I mean, he's Mr. USA, one of the most powerful guys in the world. I can't even imagine testing the strength of Tony Atlas in that way, but anyhow. Cross body by Atlas, 1, 2, and 3. He gets the victory. Then we move on to our main event. Main event has not a great deal of time left to it, and I've got to grab my phone, so I will be back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail here. Chat request. Obviously, your main event of the team of Madrill and Adias is sufficient enough to versus Mark Youngblood and Casey. Sufficient enough to fill some time. Not necessarily a match that people are gonna go completely crazy for. Obviously, the money here is in Madrill and in Adias and Kerry Von Erich, but Kerry's not back yet. Youngblood, who has been around, is good fodder for these heels, and Steve Casey, also not a bad guy to put in a match of this general nature, and we will be back in just a second or two. But certainly not something that, needs to be really worried about. I mean, it is a match that is more holiday filler. Casey and Youngblood could be a young upstart team if needed, but not exactly going to set any world attendance records. Madrill kind of backs off, spends the majority of the match kind of backing off. Adias is obviously, I wouldn't say the star of the team, but certainly the guy that has the most heat behind him. Fans do take him a bit more personally. Obviously, Kerry's injury hurts things a little bit. Breakdown of the match is relatively simple, as we see Casey get the ring cut off on him quite a bit. Needless to say, when we get a hot tag to Youngblood, he clears house on both guys for several minutes. All four guys break into the ring. That's one thing I don't necessarily like about World Class. I think they go into everyone in the ring chaos a little too often. Also, the referee looks rather ineffective, inefficient in these types of situations. Russian leg sweep on the Native American by Brian Adias. Adias gets the win as we close the 20th of December here. And we got one more week, and we're in 1987. We'll be back with more right after this.